Greetings, family. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Morning Coffee Talks. I was about to say Saturday, but we're on 2 days a week now with Coffee Talks, Friday and Saturday. So welcome. And today is part 2 of our 3-part series on the power of asking. And today we're going to talk about the benefits of asking questions, and we'll spend a little time chatting about the challenges with groupthink. See you on the other side of the commercials. Give y'all time to come on in the room, grab your coffee, sit back, relax, and bring your thinking caps. All right, peace. Be right back.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
Assalamu alaikum, family. Happy Friday. Some of you all been waiting for this day all week. But some of us, we work every day, so it doesn't really matter. But it's always nice to get a little break from, what's really nice about it is just you get a break from just the routine of people who are in their robotic phase of going through the week. And, anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. But welcome. Thank you for having coffee with me today on Friday. I got my coffee. I drink decaf coffee. So I got a little decaf in here with some vanilla cream and a little touch of agave. So I'm excited about that. Especially now that Ramadan is over with, I can go back to my nursing my warm drink throughout the course of the day. Ramadan was good to me because I felt like I turned over some new leaves, broke some old habits. I feel new after Ramadan, and it did me good. I lost a lot of water weight, so I'm happy about that. So working to keep that on, working out and just doing that. And I changed my workout routine a little bit, which has also helped. So I'm excited, right? Summer's coming up and it makes sense that you can look good in them flowy garments, drop a few pounds. So I'm excited. So welcome to each and every one of you in the chat. Today is part 2. Thank you, Mom. She said, you look so beautiful. That's so sweet. Thank you. It's nothing like your mother telling you that you're beautiful. That's a whole nother level of compliment. Welcome, Monica Daniels Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. She says, great day all. And welcome to Nubia Latifa. Welcome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Today is part 2 of our 3-day series. It's my little sis right here, Amira Muhammad. I just love this little girl right here. She ain't no little girl. Let me stop. I just love this young woman right here. Wa alaikum salam and good morning, peace and blessings. Today is part 2 of a 3-part series we're doing on the power of asking. And if you missed yesterday, go back and listen to part 1, because part 1 is going to talk to you about, I was talking about the spiritual benefits, of asking and the brain waves that we emit when we ask questions, and the divine feminine space we create when we open ourselves up to asking questions. Happy Friday, Sister Betty. Thank you for joining. So today we're going to talk about the benefits of asking. Asking questions benefits both sides, right? Helps to facilitate discussion, but more importantly, it helps you to understand where a person is coming from, because a lot of times we make assumptions in relationships and we assume that a person knows what we're talking about. And when they ask a question, then it helps us to understand where they are. And then sometimes when we ask the question, it helps us to begin to formulate our thoughts around something. A lot of times we have a question because we're confused. And then the minute we ask a question, we go, oh, I get it. This makes sense now, right? So we're going to talk about the benefits. And y'all know I've been saying through this whole series, closed mouths don't get fed. You got to open your mouth and ask a question. Open your mouth and ask a question. That's what has to happen. All right. So we're going to talk about that today, the benefits of it. I have a few quotes here that I put in the chat. And before we start, I'm just going to read them so that it can begin to get your thinking caps flowing. I want y'all to warm up before I start talking to you about these benefits. Here's the first one. Sometimes we get so caught up in appearing smart that we become afraid to ask the question that will actually make us smart. You know, people like that who are smart in their head, or maybe they used to be smart back in the day and they still think they're smart. or they're smart in that circle of influence that they're in, but they don't ask enough questions, so they really don't know much. Go back to this quote. Sometimes, this is John Hawkins, sometimes we get so caught up in appearing smart that we become afraid to ask the question that will actually make us smart. This is the trap. This is the smart girl, smart boy, smart dude trap. Where you think you're so smart that you can't ask questions. You think you're so smart and you're so caught up in the persona of being smart that you don't even want to look like you don't know anything. You don't want to look like you can't fail. And people who are haters will come back to you. I've had haters go in my DM and say, oh, you're so smart. You've been building all these $1 million businesses. How come Elijah Muhammad house ain't done? I said, because of people like you, because of haters like you. But guess what? We're going to win. We're the winner in the end. Trust me on that. So people play that and they think that they know that that's so common that our ego gets caught up in being smart, especially if smart is your mojo. So think about that. Don't get so caught up in appearing smart. Here we go. Here's another one. The smart ones ask when they don't know, and sometimes even when they do know, right? Some people are so smart that they ask questions even when they know the answer. Not only are they maybe sometimes trying to confirm what they know, but they just might be wanting to put the knowledge out there into the lexicon. So smart people ask questions. That's the moral of the story. Here's the next one. When we can get multiple sets of brains working to find answers, the odds of coming up with good ones are far better than if you rely only on your own brain. That's from Tony Robbins. I love me some Tony. Think about that. And this is especially true in organizations, because a lot of times we like to run our organizations, our businesses and stuff, our nonprofits like dictatorships, where everybody's waiting like little birds chirping in the nest to be fed what to do next, where to go next, how do I do this? And then the creativity of the people in the company just tends to die, or people leave because they have a burning desire inside of them to be creative, but they can't be because you as leaders don't value multiple sets of brains working on answers. There's nothing wrong with think tanks. There's nothing wrong with bringing people together that have different views on things and figuring out a solution. There's nothing wrong with hearing from the masses. We have to stop mimicking what we believe. No, let's stop mimicking our slave master who said, this is what you're going to do and this is how you're going to do it. And then we open up businesses and we do the same thing. We run organizations and we do the same thing. No individuality. Nobody gets to be creative. We don't even offer outlets for people to be their creative selves. And then we wonder why everybody's so dependent. This is a real impediment for those of us in business that tend to create dependent staff members. You got to put together some type of group where these multiple sets of brains can work together. It's critical. All right, here's the next one. We must ask questions. If we allow our team to slip into robotic groupthink where nobody is willing to risk a question for fear of upsetting the apple cart, we've set the conditions for future failure. Do y'all realize that? If you have an organization and you come out, you give instructions, and nobody has any questions, nobody questions you on why this is being done, or does this make sense, or how are we going to execute this, you're setting yourself up for future failure. It's a setup. It's going to happen. You cannot allow your team, your company, to slip into robotic groupthink. That's why you have to be careful with, even with your children, of telling your children everything to do. If you're in a situation where somebody tells you what to wear, how to wear it, when to wear it, where to go, how to get there, what you should do on your way there, how to think, what words you need to say, who you should talk to, who you can be in relationship, how you should do everything. And then all of a sudden, people feel uncomfortable with being creative in a space, then they're not going to solve any problems for you. Your business is going to have lingering, hidden problems that nobody in the organization is going to address. They're going to know they're there. And then you're going to create this dishonesty, this hypocrisy, this two-facedness within your organization, because people are going to be one way in your face and another way behind your back. Why? Because they can't come to the table and be themselves. So that's something we have to work on as leaders, because we do not want to create the same business model that utilizes the same interdependencies that have enslaved and preyed upon us and put us in this position in the first place. Okay? Groupthink is very, very dangerous. Can be very dangerous. It can be good. You know, you hear the thing about Black people. We see somebody running towards us, and all Black people, we're going to take off running. We're not going towards it. In that case, they might save your life. In other times, it can be a death blow to your organization, because all your organization needs is a little challenge, and it won't survive unless you're telling it what to do. And if you're telling it what to do at every turn, 9 times out of 10, pretty soon you're going to miss the mark, because you're not in the trenches. You're not in the field. You don't know what people are saying. This is what's happening with a lot of these companies in corporate America, and why social media has been good for other companies, because many of these companies, there's so many different demographics that they're missing, that they don't even know exist. They're going off of some algorithm, some assumption, and they're thinking like somebody is telling them to think as a group, and they're missing whole markets. And then you get their competitor who comes out here and says, I'm going to reach out to Sajdah Wendy Muhammad because she has access to a demographic, or she speaks to a certain market that we don't speak to, that we don't know about, because we made an assumption that Black people were all like this. And what we're learning is that we're wrong. That's where groupthink can be dangerous. It's good if you want to prey on people. It's good if you want to hide the truth. It's good if you want to collect money from people and get people to do what you want them to do and not question you. Anyway, we'll keep going. Let's see. Let's go over this one. This is going back to the groupthink conversation. Members will suppress dissenting viewpoints, fail to critically analyze alternatives, or make irrational decisions due to pressure to conform. In the context of organizations, groupthink can have detrimental effects. It'll stifle innovation. It'll encourage unethical decisions and contribute to strategic blunders. We have to open ourselves up so that our organizations can ask, people in the organizations can ask questions. People can contribute to the ongoing concern of the business. They can put some skin in the game, and this will help them. Otherwise, people become like the Walking Dead. They'll do what you tell them to do. They'll wear their uniform. They'll clock in at the right time because really they just want a paycheck. But then after a while, even if they don't feel like the paycheck is good enough, then they just become the Walking Dead. Heartless, irrational, under pressure to conform. um, not being innovative, unethical, all of that. All right. So let's. I hope that got your thinking cap going. Let's talk about excuse me, the benefits of asking questions. Let me know in the chat if y'all all right. Y'all got any questions about those few quotes we talked about? I want you guys to keep your questions, because when we come on tomorrow morning at 6 a.m., I want you to have your questions about asking questions. And we'll talk a little bit about how to form questions. Okay? Because sometimes when we're too vague, or we're not honest even in our questioning, that can be detrimental as well. But let's talk about these benefits. Number one, asking questions builds knowledge, because it can help to facilitate a discussion. It can help you to learn what I'm curious about. It can help me to learn what you want to know, what's important to you, and vice versa. People can ask questions and make you know that you don't want to deal with them no more. Or they can ask questions that are so thoughtful and so sweet that make you say, you know what, I do want to deal with this person. But it helps to build knowledge base. It's a way to exchange facts. It's a way to go deeper, take a deeper dive into the mindsets of one another. If you're a leader and you allow people to ask questions and give feedback, it can help you to understand what's going on in the trenches. Many people are in leadership and they don't know what their customers are saying about them. This happens a lot, like in the church or even in the mosque, where you might be in a leadership position and you may be telling your congregation or your members of your nonprofit, I want you all to go out and recruit. I want more people coming in. I want people to come in and donate. We got this event coming up. You all should be getting people to come and volunteer. But because you don't have your ear to the ground, you don't know what the trenches are even saying about you. And if the trenches are saying something about you that's not true, if you allow the opportunity to build knowledge through asking questions, it's going to help you to tweak your approach or tweak your appearance so that the trenches and the thoughts in the trenches reflect who you really are or what you really want them to think. Okay. So this is very important. Even if you're in a nonprofit, a religious organization, or if you're in a business, you need to know what's the trenches, your customers, your potential volunteer base, your potential members that you're trying to recruit. You need to know, what are they thinking about you? When they see you, what do they think? They may say, well, you just appear to be unapproachable. Or they may say, you just look like you do a lot of talking, y'all don't do nothing. Or they may say, you really just look like you run a game, like you just real slick talker. That may not be what you want. So it'll give you an opportunity to go back to the drawing board and maybe even have a retreat with your leadership and figure out, what do we do next? Gotta inject some new blood in there so that you can find out what's going on and build that knowledge base. And it'll help to get rid of assumptions. Usually we see people from the context in which they respond to us. And we may be wrong because we got this filter, we got all this trauma we're dealing with. So it makes sense, okay, to use questioning to build knowledge. Here's number 2, the second benefit. There's 8 of them. It teaches us about people. We've been talking about that a little bit the last 2 days on this. It will teach you about the person who's asking you the question, and then it'll teach you about the person who's answering the question. So it'll teach you about people. Who are they? What do they want to know? It'll help you understand how they string their thoughts together, how they think. So allowing people to ask questions is important. Number 3, it'll build engagement. It'll allow you to get some interaction, because a lot of times people just want to feel like they're valued. People want to be heard. And people will sometimes hold the slightest little emotional thing in their heart and allow it to mushroom and become really big. And just by you asking them a question or allowing them to express that can make all the difference in the world. So allow people to speak, to talk, to share, to be creative. Some people say, you know what, I just want to be, I'm a creative being. That's how I am. I'm a creative person. I just love, love, love being creative. I don't like being in a situation where my creativity is stifled. And I will tend to sort of back off from that situation, whether I'm in it's a relationship or a friendship or whatever. I'll place that situation in a functional uh, corner of my brain because I'm a creative and I love, love, love receiving my downloads from the universe and then going, let me make this material live. I love my fourth dimensional thinking. And so the more that I can do that, the more benefit you would get out of me in an organization. So understanding your people, building engagement will help you as a leader understand where you use that person. Okay. Some people are very structured and very rigid, and they may be even stubborn. They may be very routine. Oftentimes, those are good people, maybe to be the key holder of your business, because you know they're going to show up on time. They're going to be there at the front desk. They're going to execute the rules. Maybe your creative person is not that person. Because us creative people, we might be somewhere listening to the birds when it's time to open up your business. Y'all know what I mean. I'm being silly. All right. So asking questions also builds value. All of this is kind of all intertwined, right? So we build value when we ask questions and we allow people to ask questions. Because if you bring a question to the table, which is something that as a leader, I did not think about, I value your opinion. And if you bring that to me and I then make a pivot in the organization because of some valuable information that you shared with me in the form of a question, maybe in a think tank, in a meeting, guess what? There's value. There's an exchange of value. Now we both value one another. So it builds value. Not only that, it helps me see how you value the organization. It's another thing. All right. It also, here's another thing that asking questions does. Asking questions helps you to build a roadmap. Now, we've been talking about this from the standpoint of an organization today. And yesterday we were talking about asking questions of God or of the universe. And I want you to understand that it's interchangeable. Okay. On this show, we don't separate our spirituality from our business. Our spirituality is very much a part of our business on this show. And asking questions builds that roadmap. What do I mean by that? The answer to the question can tell me if I need to go this way or that way. The answer to the question can help me to figure out, am I even going in the right direction? Because the information that I receive back, whether I'm posing that question to an individual and they give me an answer back, whether it's a realization, an aha moment, whether it's intuition, however I receive feedback from that question, that I'm putting it out there to whomever or whatever I'm putting it out there to, that feedback can be a roadmap and tell me where do I need to go. And if every step of the way I'm saying, okay, what's my next move? What's my next move? Or if through asking those questions, I put together my overall strategic plan, again, I'm using checkpoints as I'm moving through my roadmap by going, okay, here's the next step in the plan. Where do I go from here? A question that I ask Allah all the time is I say, Allah, what is my next best move? Help me to uncover, discover, realize, intuit, gain access to my next best move. What's my next best move? That's always the question. And then you have to have the courage and not be afraid. So a lot of times we don't ask questions because we're scared. But we got to have the courage and not be afraid of the answer. Because sometimes the answer is like, do what? Move here, go there, give up this or that, Anyway, number 6 is it breaks up groupthink. I think we've talked about groupthink quite a bit today, but those questions help us to break up that groupthink. Okay, groupthink. Number 7, it gives us clarity about what we want. When I'm doing one-on-one sessions with my clients, the first question I ask them, whether it's a crisis management client or a coaching client or a friend that comes to me with a problem or a business development client, the first thing I ask is, what do you want? And sometimes people are so afraid to say what they want that they won't say it. And I have to keep asking them, tell me what you want. Don't come to me about a problem and ask me questions and start steering me down a direction because you think this is the right way to go, but this ain't really what you want. I can't properly serve you unless you tell me what it is that you want. That's the power of asking. That's the power of expressing what you want. I will say to you, what do you want? What does that tell me? It tells me whether or not I can even be of service to you, because you may want something that I can't help you with. You may want something that's really unrealistic, or you may want something that's very realistic, but we over here going down the wrong path. So I always ask the question, what do you want? And if you don't know, if you truly don't know what you want, then guess what? We're going to do a series of exercises and have some conversations so we can figure out what it is that you do want. And probably break you out of the groupthink thing where you're just waiting for someone like a little bird to come and drop the worm in your mouth and say, this is what you do, little boy. This is what you do, little girl. Here's your food. See, some of us are mad because nobody won't do that to us. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I meet with who don't really want to work. They don't want to do anything. They want somebody to give them the money. They want somebody to open the business for them and give them the space. And if you don't do that, then they ain't trying to hear it. That's why it's important to see I like to see who's serious about their business, because many times people are just looking for somebody to give them something. People are just looking. They see a whale somewhere. They see somebody with money and they will court you and be your friend and be all up in your face because they think you got a couple dollars to give them. And when you don't give it to them, then all the things that they promise you, they're not going to do in the first place. So the good thing to find out up front is, what do you want? What do you want? That's a very valid question. Helps you to identify what it is that you want. And I talked about this yesterday, that one of the things that I always say to my clients, have you asked this question? Have you asked that question? And then sometimes they'll say no. And I'll say, well, what are you afraid of? All they can do is say no. Sometimes somebody saying no to you is good. Because if you know that's a no, you can take it out of your brain. See, because we believe in a spook God, we're sitting here wanting something to be what it's not. And the person done already told you no. See, a real manifester goes, okay, they said no. Let me go this way. Let me find another direction. They may come around to something else later, but right now, I'm not going to beat that dead horse, excuse that phrase, because they already said no. And so many of us, I see, and this is a Muslim thing. We go, we don't believe in a spook God. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Because you're not utilizing your creativity. You're not utilizing your individuality. You're sitting up mad and disappointed because somebody within an organization ain't giving you what you want. They ain't doing what you want. You didn't put your whole life in the hands of somebody else that got all this responsibility. And then when they're not addressing your responsibilities, you mad. Now you gotta leave. You gotta go somewhere else because you upset, you disappointed. But at the end of the day, your real problem was because you believe in a spook God. Yes, you do. You may sit up and say, "Oh, God is a man," and you go, "I believe that God is a man. We don't believe in the spook God," but you do. Because you're not planning on doing for self. You're not taking a chance on doing for self. You're not taking a chance on any kind of creativity. Somebody walk in your house, they don't even see no evidence of your personality. You don't even know who you are. You don't even have a personal relationship with Allah where he can deposit himself in you. He put you here for a reason. And you done pinched him all the way off trying to satisfy somebody that ain't got time for you and who your life is not their responsibility. We got that bad as Black people. We always trying to replace the slave master. Well, replace the slave master with the leadership in the mosque. Replace the slave master with the usher board. Replace the slave master with our boss at work. Stop that. Let's put things into perspective. You and I showed up on the planet for a reason. And I started the conversation yesterday by saying something that I have been doing for years is trying to make sure that my mental thought pattern is outside and stretched beyond the 6,000 year history that represents the mindset of the system that we live in. I don't think of myself within that 6,000 year time frame. So when you see me talking about my ancestors or tracing my DNA, I don't stop at slavery. I don't stop at what we call Africa today. I'm going beyond that 6,000 year history, because when you start looking at the amount of time that this universe has been in effect and how long you and I have been here, guess what? That little 2,000 years, if you go back to 2000 or you go back to the 1900s, that's nothing. See, this 6,000 year period is a mindset. A mindset has created all the systems and all the processes and all the suffering and all the slavery and everything that has happened within this 6,000 year time frame. But I'm older than that. I'm bigger than that. I'm wiser than that. My brain extends beyond that. I was here before that. And so I really try to stay on top of history. I try to, if you know anything about me, I'm always, if I watch a show, I watch a show that'll take me past the 6,000 years. I ain't got no problem looking at some Titans. I spend time on YouTube looking at ancient civilizations, because I want to connect and fire off the brain cells in my brain so that I emit brain waves that are bigger and more expansive and cut through this 6,000 year mind history that we're living in. Y'all don't hear me. Y'all don't hear me. Because see, we caught up in that little history. We limit ourselves. We get caught up just in this little pocket of history because we can't expand beyond what we know because we don't study history. But if we study history, we'll see people that look like us. I was looking at something the other day, and the AI was breaking down what it might have been about the Sybils or the Anunnakin or something. And I saw where the AI had generated what its intelligence thought that those people looked like, and it looked like me. I said, oh, shoot, look at me. Now that you may say, now, come on, girl, you being silly. No, I'm not. Because I know my mind was back then. I know my mind is an extension. When you start talking about the Great Pyramids being before the Mayans and before the Aztecs, you're talking about going back 7, 8,000, 10,000, 250,000 years. My mind is an extension of that. Your mind is an extension of that. So the questions I pose to the universe are those kinds of questions that come from that 250,000 million-year-old, trillion-year-old mind. That's why it's important, family, and this is for those of us as Muslims, that we stay entrenched in this book, this supreme wisdom. It's okay to get caught up in the Bible, but we all know that the Bible is a compilation of a number of different writings, and it's going to constrict you to a certain time frame. And it's okay to get caught up in certain things. But when you got supreme wisdom given to you by God himself, what are you doing? We have supreme wisdom in the Nation of Islam that is mathematical facts and civilized way of being that dates all the way back to the original creator himself. See, y'all didn't know that. Y'all thought we was just a people running around here in bow ties and headpieces. And I know sometimes we act like it. But do you know the keys of knowledge that we are given in the Nation of Islam? Listen, y'all better come on over here and learn and find out and take this wisdom and take this knowledge and extend your brain waves beyond this 6,000 year history, because we're way bigger than that. We are the response to something way bigger than that. Our life ain't about slavery. Our life ain't about the white man and the black man. Our life is about the evolution of civilization. That's who we are. And that's how we have to start thinking. And that's why we got to be scared. We got to stop being scared to ask questions. And we got to get ourselves out of groupthink. This is big, y'all. This is big, people. We have the ability. I would say we have the ability to change the world, but that sounds very cliche. We have the ability to alter civilization. Straight up. Just with what we've been given. Just with what we've been given. So get your head out of the sand. Let's start asking questions. If you're watching this and you're not a member of the Nation of Islam, start studying history. Study the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Study the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Study. See, I used to say this all the time on my radio show, and I'm going to say this again for the benefit of this conversation here today. The way we've been taught to think, this modern way of thinking, is that somebody tells us who to like and who not to like. And as Black people, we get a litmus test. They give us a choice. And if you say you like this person and we don't want you to like this person, then you get canceled. But to learn how to think like a God, we have to put ourselves in a position where we recognize wisdom no matter where it comes from. That's an instruction for us as Muslims from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We have to recognize the truth no matter where it comes from. But you got to be an independent thinker. You got to be somebody that's not afraid to ask in order to recognize that truth, because you want to be able to examine that truth. You should be able to pick it up and go, does this make sense? You got to be able to recognize truth. And don't let nobody tell you, whoever they are, don't listen to that person. Because what will happen is no matter what that person says, you won't believe them. But nobody can dictate who God uses. The media can't dictate who God uses. The president can't dictate who God uses. So we have to be wise enough to look at a person, a place, a thing, and recognize truth. We got to be able to extract that truth and sit it on our own knowledge platform. So you should have a platform of knowledge that you access when you need for answers that includes wisdom from a number of different sources. That don't mean you can't be a Christian. That don't mean you can't be a Muslim. That don't mean you can't be a Jehovah's Witness. What it means is that you're smart enough to recognize truth wherever you see it. You ain't got to even like me in order to recognize truth that I'm saying to you. You don't have to like the person. You can think they ugly. You can think they whatever you want. But if they speak in truth, you pull that truth off and put that in your platform. And stop letting people tell you to make a choice. Is it Tupac or Biggie? What if you like Tupac and Biggie's music? Do you like Michael Jackson or Prince? What if you like Michael Jackson and Prince? Why you got to make a choice? Do you like Malcolm or Martin? What if you agree with some things that they both say? Why you got to make a choice? Are you a Democrat or a Republican? Maybe you agree with some things that they both say, and maybe you disagree with some things that they both say. Why do you have to make a choice? Why you got to slap a label on me? I'm not a slave. You don't label me so you know what to do with me. You slap this letter on my forehead, and now as I move through society, you know what to do with me because you've already labeled me. You don't get to do that to me. You don't tell me who I need to look at. Well, let's see. Do you like Chris Brown or Usher? Maybe I like them both. Do you like Beyonce or Taylor Swift? Maybe I like them both. Stop being slaves in the way that you think. Stop letting people put you in a category and slap a label on you. So now they know what to deal with, how to deal with you. I saw this so clearly. I'm going to say this one last thing before we go. I saw this so clearly when I was in Benin at the slave malls, because I saw on the walls where they would just go rice farmer, iron worker, breeder, where they slap these labels on people. This is part of the problem with our children when they get ready to go to college. Because we want them to pick a category. We want to slap a label on them. Guess what? One of the biggest blessings that I could say is my parents didn't slap labels on us. So guess what? I'm an engineer. I'm an accountant. I'm a financial advisor. I'm a public speaker. I'm a real estate developer. I'm a business developer. I'm an artist. I'm a singer. And I'm a spiritualist. I'm a public speaker. I'm a radio host. I'm a motivational speaker. I can be whatever I want to be, and you don't have the right to slap a label on me. So you're not going to make me choose. Do you like W.E.B. Du Bois or you like Booker T? Well, guess what? Sometimes when I read their books, I see where they both coming from. And I have the right to take that knowledge and put it into my platform. Some of y'all scared because y'all like the minister. So you got to listen with your headphones on and make it real quiet. Guess what? If Minister Farrakhan is saying something that you agree with, you don't owe nobody no explanation to say, you know what, I'm going to extract that and use that. If T.D. Jakes is saying something that you like, or Joel Osteen is saying something that you like, you got a right to say, you know what, I like that. I'm going to use that. Or you can say, yeah, you know what, I don't like that one, but I like this. Stop letting people put you in a box, because once they label you, once they package you, they can ship you off to wherever they want you to go. And I'm going to leave it at that. Let me see what y'all saying in the comments. Let's see. Sister said, yes, indeed. All praises due to Allah. All great perspectives for true development. Thank you, Sister Monica. Sister Monica also said, mindset expansion is vital. Thanks, Sis Sajdah. I love going deep beyond recent time periods. That's exactly right. Mom says, facts. Sandra D says, Assalamu alaikum, family. Happy every day. I'll have to watch this later and get Friday on my schedule. Absolutely. We're also thinking about, I'm going to start doing Mindset Mondays. So, but listen, if you're at work or you're busy and the day ain't on your schedule, because Mondays might be for some people, Fridays might be for some people, Saturday might be. Some people say, you know, I'm tuning in every day. I appreciate that too. But you can come right back here to the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel and get caught up on past episodes. Okay, so make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure you send us a love offering. Hit the super chat button down here at the bottom. Go to Cash App. If you like it, put the power of asking in the comment. Sajdah Enterprises, and give something to help support the platform. But we've added Friday to the mix. So we got Friday morning, Saturday morning. If you hit that notification button when you like and subscribe, you'll get a notice when videos are posted. And if you're busy during that time, just add it to your to-do list or your calendar and come back and check it out later. Check it out while you're in the car. You know, when I commute, my car is my mobile university. When I used to take the train to the office, that the train was my mobile university, because I'm listening and learning and taking classes and getting motivated. So you can always come back and take a look at it later. So like and subscribe, hit that little bell. That notification button is going to let you know, and make sure you give a love offering. Okay, family, continue to support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. We need your continued support. We need those sponsorships. I'm working on something to help get us over the finish line. So your continued prayers are much needed and much appreciated. Okay, family, peace and blessings. Love you all very much. I hope you enjoy part 2 of The Power of Asking. Tune in tomorrow at 6 a.m. Central Time for our regular Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks. And we're going to be wrapping up the series, part 3. We're going to talk a little bit about, I have on here self-identity, because oftentimes we identify with the answers to questions, and we make that part of our personality. So we're going to talk about that a little bit tomorrow. Okay, family, bring your questions, bring your thinking caps. Have a wonderful Friday, and put us on your calendar. All right. Peace and blessings. Love you all. Get some exercise in today, y'all. Get out and move, and don't mess up all your benefits from Ramadan. Don't just start grubbing. Okay. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and blessings.